Fantastic Four First Steps is the first movie of Phase 6 in the MCU, and it's actually kind of crazy that we've come this far into the phases, but the first three are still the ones that stand out to me, minus maybe these movies. Phase 4 and 5 didn't really do it for me apart from a few movies and shows, which is why I'm glad things are starting to change as far as the release schedules for Phase 6 and beyond. Kevin Feige in a recent interview talked about how audiences started to feel like watching each movie or show had become more like homework than entertainment. I personally didn't feel that way since I've been keeping up with it regardless of how bad it was, which I'm not too proud of, but not everyone wants to do all that, so it's understandable. Anyway, they're planning on cutting down how many shows and movies are released within a year in order to let each project breathe and have its moment, which is what a lot of fans, including myself, have been saying for a while, but I get why they did it. He also confirmed that future Disney Plus shows won't be so deeply tied to the movies. This means no more pressure to binge watch everything just to understand what's happening next, which again is something that I and a lot of fans have been on board with. This film absolutely felt like its own thing. I mean, it's obviously tied to the current MCU, but it doesn't lose focus because of it. It still manages to set up future storylines without feeling distracted, and that's exactly how a lot of the earlier phases felt to me. Obviously that's the bare minimum when it comes to connecting the audience to this world and its characters. The story and the tone have to make an impact as well, so keeping it contained to its own world does help portray that perfectly. But obviously not everything is perfect. And in my opinion, I don't think the chemistry from the cast was all the way there. It was fine during the action scenes, but I personally felt more chemistry from the Thunderbolts, for example. I'm probably gonna get hate for this, but that's just how I felt. I thought each character played the role quite well and stood out individually. Well, maybe apart from Ben Grimm, but I'll get into that later. Reed Richards, played by Pedro Pascal, was great. I just felt like he held back a bit during certain scenes. And it kinda makes sense since initially he was supposed to have a transatlantic accent which would have mirrored the time period a bit more. But Matt Shakman, the director of the movie, told Pedro Pascal to talk more like himself. And this was after practicing with an accent coach for a while to perfect it. So I feel like him having to go back to normal kinda messed him up a bit. I mean, I might be reaching, pun intended, but he did kinda confirm it in an interview with Vanity Fair. Sue Storm, played by Vanessa Kirby, had a lot of standout moments during the main conflict of the film, especially when it came to her and Reed's newborn son, Franklin Richards. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave it there. Overall, I had no issues with her portrayal, and I felt the same way about Johnny Storm, played by Joseph Quinn. His role in the movie was quite a surprise based on what I imagined, and I was happy with the end results for sure. His narrative, or at least the direction, was hinted at in the trailers, and I liked where they went with it. He actually ended up being my favourite protagonist in the movie now that I think about it. The only thing I wasn't a fan of was the humour. Since he's supposed to be more of the comic relief, it did feel a bit annoying at times. It wasn't anything like Thor Love and Thunder, thank God, but his role made up for all the cringy humour in the end. What made his character work for me was how he stepped up when it mattered and contributed to the team in a way that caught me off guard, which I won't spoil here. As I said before, Ben Grimm, played by Ebon Moss-Bachrach, was the only character that I felt wasn't fleshed out as much. There were definitely moments here and there, but they were short-lived, and I sort of understand why based on the direction of the movie. Not to say he didn't stand out at all, but the movie could have benefited from a bit more in my opinion. Silver Surfer, played by Julia Garner, worked really well. I knew there would be quite a bit of backlash since it's a female version of the character, but I didn't really care about that as long as the performance and the story was good. I obviously want to see Norrin Radd show up in the MCU, which I have a feeling will happen, but we'll have to wait and see. But what we got here worked well, and most importantly focused on the right things. And last but not least, Galactus, played by Ralph Ineson. It was incredible to finally see a full-on portrayal of the character on the big screen. It honestly reminded me of the first time Thanos made an appearance in the first Guardians movie, but on a bigger scale. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I fully enjoyed every moment Galactus was on screen, and I can't wait to see more of him in future movies and how he might impact the MCU moving forward. But yeah, overall I had a great time with this movie, and so far I'm enjoying where things might be heading in the MCU, especially with how they're planning their release schedules. I think the quality over quantity approach is the best way forward right now, but hopefully they can keep that consistency going. Visually, the movie was also impressive, apart from a few weird CG moments, but nothing that killed it for me. The retro future style along with the mix of practical and CG effects really made it stand out. I've always been a fan of blending the two styles, especially when it's done right, but yeah, that's all I've got to say without spoiling anything. Let me know down below what you thought about the movie and whether or not you agree with anything I said. Thanks so much for watching the video if you made it this far into it, and please like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Anyway, that's all I've got for now, so I'll catch you in a bit.